one. Welcome into the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. It is a Wednesday. That means only one thing. It's time now for Supernatural News and Parashare. You kids are slacking. You need to get your Parashare in. I'm not calling it homework, but I'm just saying you're due. Okay, with that in mind, we'll continue with the program. It is a Wednesday, and with that, I need to bring in a co-host, as always. I want to thank Rocky Stucci for filling in yesterday, but we need to get it back on track. We need to get our regular co-hostesses in here, so I bring in, without further ado, one from the area of Yield, Twin Cities here. One who is intelligent, witty, vibrant, is easy on the eyes. We can say that as well. And not only that, but is bringing the funny today. Ladies and gentlemen, she's crushed the Hindustan Times in their #1 bestseller lists over there. She's looking for a new country to slay with these different books that she's coming out with. You may submit your resume to Jessica at jessicafreeburg.com. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Jessica Freeburg. Jess, how you doing?
I'm good. Taking over the world, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as you should be. I mean, you know.
You get two co-hosts today
Yeah.
for the price of one. I've got Phoebe Buffet on my lap.
Yeah, I got Phoebe here there. Hi, Phoebe. How you doing? Hey. How's she doing today?
She's good.
Yeah.
She's my emotional support dog today. It's been a week already.
It has. I understand you're under the weather. You're playing in pain today.
I am. Yeah, I had a cold too. Like I'm overcoming some rotten virus, and then my sciatic nerve. I was complaining to you. I feel like I'm just getting so old, but apparently the human body isn't meant to sit in a chair, no matter how cool the bookshelf behind it, for like 80 hours a week. So I'm paying for it.
You look amazing. See?
Thanks. I'm smiling because I'm high.
Well, you didn't have to disclose that. I was going to keep that secret, but hey, if you want to let it out there, let it all out, sister. That's all. No,
Doctor prescribed. It's all legal.
That's right. It's all legal. We're keeping it above board. Well, there's different kinds of highs now in Minnesota that are completely legal. So whichever way you want to go, it's all up to you, Jess.
That's true. That's true.
You explore the boundaries. We'll co-sign. That's all.
Right now, I'm just trying to survive, Tim. But I'm here. I'm here for the paranormal news, my friend.
I will tell you, as a person with chronic pain that walks around with busted bones, I'm feeling your pain right now.
I know you get it. You have to listen to me grumble for like 20 minutes before we even started this show.
No. Hey, I get it. It's horrible. It feels horrible. It's not good. And all you can do is just manage, right? I mean, that's all you can do. Yeah. So we'll try and get you out of this chair and into bed as quickly as possible. I never thought I'd say that to you, but I just did. So there you go.
It sounded wrong, but also right at the same time.
Thank you for saying that. Okay. The news today is, it's a mixture of, let's put it this way. It's a mixture of, I thought so. And boy, that's interesting. And you know what? I kind of had a feeling we were going down that road. It's those type of stories.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll start it off with one of those, I thought so. There's new U.S. Navy footage out there showing Tic-Tac UFOs emerging from the ocean. I say it's one of those, I thought so, because we've gotten that type of footage before, and we've gotten this from some familiar faces. There's compelling new footage out there that's been released showing more examples of Tic-Tac shaped UAPs. The video, which is being hailed as perhaps the most significant new UFO footage. I think I've been dipping into Jess's medication since the release of the original U.S. Navy videos back in 2017, shows 2 of 4 Tic-Tac UFOs that were observed emerging from the ocean and flying off at supersonic speeds. The clip was recorded from the USS Jackson back on February 15th of 2023 and was obtained by journalist George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, the hosts of the Weaponized podcast. During the episode, they spoke to a CIC operator who had been present at the time. All in synchronous jetting into the abyss, he said, all 4, all timed together and all left. And we were like, holy shit. The second they left, maybe 3-4 seconds pass. I run to my station, I look at my radar, and they're off radar. That's it. They all zoomed off. Well, they're bound to do that. They probably didn't like seeing you looking at them. That's all I got
Yeah,
to
you
say.
scared them.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're shy. They're shy little creatures, right? But it's clear that they're in communication with one another and they're synchronized like 3, 2, 1 countdown. Let's all go is the quote here. Isn't that isn't that like a reading rainbow 3, 2, 1, let's all go type deal? I think unless there's some level of like one entity controlling all four and then they all leave at the same time is what the quote is here. In other words, they're saying, I think maybe they're all of one hive mind. So they're
Oh,
all
yeah.
synchronized and then they take off together. The crew even tracked the objects using a specialized heat sensor and discovered that they hadn't left any heat trails of any kind, as would be expected of traditional propulsion systems. I don't think it's ours, said former Defense Department analyst Merrick von Rennenkamp. I suspect there are better places for us to showcase that kind of equipment to unwitting sailors. That just doesn't make sense. I tell you what, there is footage of these UFOs in this article. I'm going to take and post it in the description of this program so you can take a look for yourself and see these things kind of sit and then boom, take off all simultaneously.
So did they say they came out of the water before they took off?
These things actually, how did they appear? A lot of times they'll come out of like a cloud and then they'll come down out of,
Okay.
but there are times where yes, it will, um, it will come out of the water. So it's they're either submersibles that come up out of the water or they'll come out of a cloud. Like I'm trying to remember the
Mhm.
name of the movie now that came out 2 years ago that we had featured here on the show. That was off the Catalina coast. Someone's going to remind me.
Yeah.
I've got a foggy
You'll get
brain,
an email.
Jess, because I've been up since 3:30.
Oh,
It's no excuse, um, but the movie in the movie these tic-tacs were coming and you could only see it through infrared camera. They would come out of this cloud and then they drop out of this cloud and it was weird because it looked like all these little pill forms were coming out of this cloud and they'd swoop down to the level to ocean level and they'd kind of hover over the ocean level and then they'd split off. But it's like
wow.
they were all of one hive mind. It's like they all could communicate with each other or they all kind of fed off the same intelligence. But then when
Right? That's
oh,
the part that makes it even creepier though. Like just like that synchronicity where they're all moving in unison like that. That's that would be very eerie to see.
but then there came a time where after they were done doing what they were doing, they all ascended up back into this cloud, into this portal at the same time. So it was like, boom, it's time to go back, and then back up into the cloud, and they were done. And it's hard to explain what that was or how it worked or bizarre, just bizarre.
Yeah.
How did these descend again? I know I thought I read it. Um, they were emerging from the ocean and flying off at supersonic speed.
Okay.
They,
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. And see, that to me is even weirder. Like the whole concept of them emerging out of the ocean, which to me, the ocean is one of the creepiest unknowns that we have on our planet. There's
yeah,
so much weird stuff down there.
yeah. So the ones I've seen on video, the Tic Tac I've seen on video, come out of a portal out of a cloud and then swoop down and kind of strafe the ocean surface, almost like they think they're undetectable if they follow that surface of the ocean.
Mm.
Either
Like
way,
our radar sonar can't detect them under the water.
or even close to, right?
Mm. Yeah.
We have a tough enough time seeing them with the naked eye, but then we seem to be able to pick them up in infrared or ultraviolet, either of those
Interesting.
spectrums. Yeah. Yeah. I was having this conversation with a friend of ours before the show about capturing different aspects of the paranormal, but not being able to do it with just a regular camera.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an interesting conversation. Our next story has to do with new seismic evidence raising hopes right now that there's life on Mars. Again, seismic evidence. We just had an earthquake out in San Diego this past weekend. Uh, quite the earthquake, a 6.7, which to us in the Midwest seems quite high, but actually in California, it barely shakes you out of bed.
It was funny though, my daughter goes to college out there, so I get notifications anytime anything happens on campus. So immediately the campus sent out a text message saying, "We had an earthquake. We're clearing the buildings. We'll let you know when it's safe to go back inside," basically, or something to that effect. And so I texted her right away. I'm like, "Are you good?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was just running on the treadmill and all of a sudden it started bouncing like off the floor." And I thought, "Dang, am I doing that?"
But isn't
Like
it
she didn't
funny?
even think earthquake. She just like, what am I doing?
Isn't it funny that she's almost acclimated that she didn't think earthquake to begin with?
Yeah,
Just, yeah, did I do that? She pulled a Nurgle. Did I do that?
totally.
Yeah. But that was like the last thing on her mind, and it really didn't
No,
bother
didn't
her all
even
that
think
much.
of it.
Yeah.
And then other people were like, "Oh, my friend was walking her dog. She didn't even feel it." I'm like, I think I would be like dropping to the ground if I felt the earth shaking. I'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. See, those of us in the Midwest would probably grab the nearest stable object and drop to our knees and start praying. But
Yeah,
out there, it's just like, yeah, it was a 6, 7. Anything over 7, they start to worry a little.
yeah.
But 6, 7,
Pick your natural disaster.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to pick your battles, right? That one was not a battle to pick, evidently. Well, on Mars, evidently a 6, 7 is a little different. Seismic readings from NASA's InSight lander have increased the likelihood that there is life on Mars today. The question of whether or not there was ever life on Mars still remains a major topic of debate and research, with multiple spacecraft and exploratory rovers currently scouring the planet's surface for evidence that this desolate world was once home to primitive alien organisms. Thank God I'm not tired enough to say the word organisms properly. You get in trouble for that one. Now, however, a new study has raised hopes that life on Mars might not be relegated solely to the distant past, but could still exist today deep beneath the surface. The findings come courtesy of researchers Ikuo Katayama of Hiroshima University and Yuya Akamatsu, there we go, from the Research Institute for Marine Geodynamics, who have been analyzing seismic readings collected by NASA's InSight lander, which arrived on Mars in 2018. The probe was designed to detect various types of seismic waves produced by Marsquakes. Marsquake sounds like a Prince song. I'm sorry. And meteorite impacts. But the interesting thing is that it found signs of shifting wave velocities around 10 to 20 kilometers beneath the ground. Previous studies have dismissed these as simply changes in porosity or chemical composition. But in this new study, the researchers believe that they are more likely to be an indication of liquid water. Many studies suggest the presence of water on ancient Mars billions of years ago, said Katayama, but our model indicates the presence of liquid water on present-day Mars. And where there's liquid water, there's also potential for living organisms. It has long been speculated that life might still exist deep down in caves or pockets beneath the surface of Mars where it would be sheltered from the harsh surface conditions. If the researchers are correct about what the seismic readings show, then it could mean that they have identified potential reservoir of water in a in a prime place to look for signs of alien life. Getting to the water, however, will prove a major challenge for scientists to overcome because, of course, that water would be deeper down in the planet's crust. So, and getting tools like that up there is something of a whole different challenge entirely.
That's true. Get yourself a shovel, Tim. We're heading out.
Yep, that's right. Going
We're
up there,
going to Mars.
going to Mars, and they're saying now it's only a 9-month trip. It's not a five-year trip.
We'll see. We'll still be young when we get there.
That's right. Oh, well, speak for yourself. I'll probably be napping when we get there, napping and not wanting to move. I'll be dozing and asking for my oatmeal. I'll age significantly by the time we get there. At least I'll
Yes.
claim to be. I won't want to do any work. No.
I'll be digging on my own, folks.
Yeah, I'll be quite lazy by the time we get there in 9 months.
Tim will be inside the shuttle, sitting in a lazy boy eating oatmeal, apparently.
Mhm. I'll be like, this is some good oatmeal. I got the blueberry strawberry pack from Quaker. Yeah, we'll be talking about how great it is. It's instant.
Yum.
Yum. I'll go all old man on you. Mmm, delicious. Well, speaking of odd structures and things to be discovered, we turn to Earth now, where an ominous black tower structure, which was spotted at Area 51 on Google Earth, has talk of aliens.
Ooh.
Yeah, it turns out that an eagle-eyed anomaly hunter, which is on my business card, by the way, eagle-eyed anomaly hunter, has discovered a curious tower-like structure at the secretive Area 51 base in Nevada, which has raised some questions. The base, which has for years been associated with stories of captured UFOs and reverse-engineered alien technology, is now home to yet another mystery, one that comes courtesy of Google Maps. By zooming in on the northwestern side of the base, it's possible to find a tall, peculiar-looking tower that is dark in color and shaped like a triangular prism. You can now find it yourself on Google Earth by entering the coordinates 37A 14 degrees 46.5 north, 115A 49 24.0 west. I hope you got all that because I'm not repeating it. Speculation has been rife over exactly what this tower's purpose could be. Some have suggested that it might be a control tower related to the nearby airstrips, while others have put forward the idea that it is some sort of science experiment or weather station. Others, again, believe it is related to reverse engineered alien technology. Ultimately, we may never know for sure. Area 51 is a secure, tightly controlled facility, and it is unlikely that the U.S. Air Force is going to be particularly forthcoming about anything that's there. Nonetheless, it makes for some interesting speculation. The mystery is similar to that of the door that was spotted on Google Maps in Antarctica, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. There's a video out there, but I will refrain from pointing you to it because that rabbit hole is one you don't want to go down. I'll show you the tower here though, Jess, and what exactly it looks like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of peculiar looking.
It really is. It's very unusual, the shape of it, and it almost looks like a little skyscraper sort of thing.
Yeah. So you could see where
Huh.
people would get kind of carried away and think that it was not human made.
I mean, a little bit, it looks like it has panels on the side.
Yeah. Yeah. It has an unusual look.
Hmm.
But I tell you, when you look at it, you gotta think, well, of course it was made by men, right? But
Little green men.
oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, I see what you did there. But in the end, I'm sure it serves an earthly purpose. I'm sure it's there to help either with weathers or airships, not spaceships, but airships.
Right. There's probably a perfectly rational explanation.
That's right. That's right.
Boring.
Yeah, I know. Most of the stuff going on at these bases is pretty boring. Although some of the stories about what goes on behind Area 51 are pretty intriguing. That's for sure. All right. I know you had to have seen the launch of the giant penis rocket that Bezos put up yesterday. The what are they?
With all the ladies on it?
Yeah, with all the ladies on it. The Blue Boy Express or Blue Ball Express.
Yep.
Is that what he calls it? I'm sorry, Blue Origin. That's what it is. It's not the Blue
Oh,
Express.
so close.
I was having a good laugh with it with Todd up at KNSI yesterday as it was going up into the air. I said, "Tell me that doesn't look like a giant dick flying up in the air, and that Mike Myers shouldn't be still making Austin Powers movies about that, because it really does look like a skit from Austin Powers."
It does.
Doesn't Bezos look like Dr. Evil out there? Like he should have his pinky in his mouth and going, "Fly, ladies, fly." Um, I kind of felt like I was watching a Mike Myers skit yesterday when I saw that.
I feel like that a lot lately.
Tell me this doesn't look like a picture of the fembots about to take off on the Blue Ball Express.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a bunch of hotties going up into space in a penis rocket.
right. Shouldn't Beyonce be in that picture? I mean, we got Katy
That
Perry.
would make it complete. Yep.
I actually heard a really funny joke on the Daily Show yesterday,
Yeah.
and it was the Katy Perry index. So that's now the index, which basically tells you whether you're going to go up in one of Bezos's rockets. So are you culturally relevant and hot enough to be launched into space and blow up and still be relevant the next day as to whether the Earth still needs you? So
No and no.
so
Not hot enough, not culturally relevant enough.
so evidently we can afford to lose Katy Perry is what it was inferred. Um, so she evidently has outlived her welcome. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't know.
How would you like to be Katy Perry and hear that off the Daily Show that you're expendable?
I think if I was Katy Perry, I would stop listening to everything like that because I wouldn't want to know what people were saying about me anymore. It'd just be
Right.
sad.
Yeah.
People are mean.
Although if you're Gil King, how would you like to hear that? I mean, you just signed a big contract with CBS to hear that you're not going to be on the morning show anymore, and people.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad because my husband's like, "Who's King?" And I was like, "That's Oprah Winfrey's best friend." Like that's my frame of reference. I know she's
That's
like a real journalist and she's done a million things. I'm like, Oprah Winfrey's best friend.
Oprah's bestie. Well, she's the lead anchor on the CBS morning show.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
rocketed. She's doing all these things, and I felt bad when I said it. I was like, I'm really not giving this woman the credit she deserves for all the great things she's done.
she was not.
But
I mean,
yeah, she paints Oprah's toenails. What do you? She's like her
oh,
bestie. Like,
she microwaves Oprah's leftovers. She also used to pick. Now, in all fairness, she was the editor in chief of Oprah magazine. Yeah,
yeah.
she got a special job, and she also people just saw my hand gesture on video, and she also used to pick the Oprah's. What was it at Christmas time? The Oprah's.
Oh, the giveaway. You get a free car and you get a
No,
free
not
car.
not the giveaway. The
Oh,
Oprah's greatest things list or
oh,
whatever.
favorite things,
Favorite
right?
things, right? Yeah, she
Yeah.
picked that list on a yearly basis, and then she would publish it in Oprah magazine.
Oh, but back when the show was on, if you were on the show when they did the her favorite things,
Yeah, you got
you
you
got
got
all the stuff.
yeah, you got all the stuff. Yeah, you walked away with a boatload of free gifts that you paid all the taxes on.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. There's a mixed
They're
blessing.
gonna charge you somehow.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to Katy Perry, the singer soared into the heavens yesterday on a groundbreaking flight. As we tape this, it's Monday, so no, it's Tuesday, so it would have been Monday that she soared. It was
What day is it, Tim?
if you're listening to this on Wednesday, so it was 2 days ago. It was on Monday that she soared into the heavens. We'll get it right. Um, on a groundbreaking flight atop the Blue Ball Express, or Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket, as it's known, the first space mission to feature an all-female crew since the Soviet Union cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova's solo mission all the way back in 1963. That was the last time we launched a woman into space.
That's crazy.
And it wasn't even because dinner wasn't done yet. See what I did there? I did. I know. I had to get one of them in, right?
Wait, there was just a lady in space for like how many months?
But
Was she not launched by us?
solo flight.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, we've had women as part of crews, of course, the Challenger
But
crew,
not alone.
but not alone, right? Now the flight saw Perry joined by Jeff Bezos's fiance, Lauren Sanchez. I know you're thinking there is probably a conspiracy here. You put Sanchez on the flight and a bunch of other women, and you're thinking maybe he's hoping that doesn't come back, right?
Oh man, I hope not.
But that's not the case. We actually have a follow-up story to this, which is either going to make you giggle hysterically or go, "Oh, that's sweet. Oh, you're such a klutz." One or the other. CBS presenter Gail King, again, Jess says, "Who's that?" Um, or I'm sorry, your husband said, "Who's that?" Former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, civil rights activist Amanda Wynn, and film producer Carrie Ann Flynn. So this made up the entire team that barely scraped the atmosphere. That's the thing about, yeah, they dick tease space is what they did. Giant penis and they dick tease space. That's what I don't like about Blue Origin flights, Jess. Is
Yeah.
they can claim they got to space, but they barely lost
They're
atmosphere.
not like out there orbiting or going to the space station or landing on Mars or anything.
They barely get up there. They barely lose oxygen. They just scrape the edge of space. They get to see they're barely in orbit of the planet, and then they come right back.
Yeah. Did you see though, Gail King, when she got out, she couldn't even stand up. She was like a hot mess.
I think she was feeling a couple 14, 15.
Was she taking pain pills too?
Yes, yeah. I think she was well medicated before they went up, pretty much. Fortunately, everything went without a hitch, with the crew soaring to the edge of space, and then back again, all within a period of around 10 minutes. That's how long that flight is. So
Wow, that's crazy.
if you got up to use a bathroom, you missed it. You had to hang on through the entire thing. So we had it on the monitors at the station as we were doing the show, and then Ox went to commercial break like halfway through it, and we got to yell into the monitor. I'm telling you, Jess, it was fun. We got to say, "Look, Ox, the head is separating from the shaft," because that's what happens in mid-flight. The shaft comes off the tip, and it's just the tip then that flies into space, and then the tip flies to Earth, and then it sprouts a parachute out of the tip so that it can fall gently to Earth. It's all very like, Jess.
It is. I was just going to say those exact words. It's very phallic.
Yeah. And you mean to tell me Bezos doesn't have deep psychological issues?
Totally created by dudes.
Yeah. See, that wasn't a woman who created that rocket.
Oh,
Giant.
they're in the background giggling. They're like, "Oh my gosh, look at the shaft came off."
Bezos is like, "Would you like to ride on my tip into space?" By the way, we're going to eject the tip now. My shaft is coming back to Earth now. He's just doing that in the background. He's like, "My fiance is riding my tip into space, and she loves it."
With a bunch of other ladies.
Along with 6 other women. I'm a god. So, while those ladies were reaching the edge of the atmosphere with barely any oxygen, and Bezos was having a good old time over it, the other crew members also expressed their thoughts about the trip. They were like, average. It was average rocket. Could have been better. Yeah, could have had
I've
more.
had better.
Yeah. Didn't really feel much vibration.
It's just okay.
It's an okay ride. I've seen bigger. Katy Perry, by the way, upon arriving back on Earth, said she kissed the ground and said she felt super connected to life. She also teased that she'd be writing a new song about the experience.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Called "A Bald Head and I Rode the Tip" is what it's going to be called. During the flight, Perry reportedly sang a rendition of Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World," which her co-stars from American Idol gave a thumbs down. So, yeah, no, I'm kidding. They didn't. But yeah, everything went without a hitch on that deal. The other crew members, by the way, expressed their thoughts about the trip. Rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, stating that she would never be the same after barely scraping space. "There are no boundaries. There's no border. There's just Earth," she said. Gail King, meanwhile, noted how quiet everything was. She said, "There's no Oprah chirping in my ear." No, she didn't say that. She said, "It's oddly quiet when you get up there." She said, "It's really quiet and peaceful, and you look down at the planet and think, Oprah owns that." No, she said, "That's where we came from." That's what she said. She said, "For me, it's such a reminder about how we need to do better, be better. And we need to get that thing away from Oprah." The other thing that happened. Okay, so the tip gently falls to Earth after separating from the shaft, Jess. And then here's what happens. Our hero of our story, Dr. Evil, decides he's going to go meet the tip and see if the ladies are okay, if they're exhausted after riding the tip, right?
What a gentleman.
Right. So he runs out there. And as he's running out there, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" As he runs out there, right? He face plants. Boom. In front of the tip.
No, he did not. Are you serious?
Serious. I'm not making this up. Here's a picture of Jeff Bezos landing face first in front of
Oh,
just the tip.
that's so sad.
Yeah. So he biffed it in front of his fiance who was getting out of the tip. It's true. Jeff Bezos might be head over heels for his fiance, but he went arse over tits for her on Monday.
Oh, that was sweet.
Yeah. The 61-year-old billionaire took quite the tumble in the Texas desert as he rushed to greet his wife-to-be following her brief trip to space on Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. He ended up brutally face-planting on the floor as he ran over to the spacecraft to open the door for Sanchez and her fellow space women, which we named them all before. I guess you could say that's what you get for trying to do the gentlemanly thing. I don't know what he thought he was going to do that they couldn't do themselves. Open the
He was
door.
going to get the door for them, Tim.
Yes, like they couldn't open it. I mean, they'd been to space. I think they're pretty empowered. I think they can open the latch themselves.
Yeah, they're like, back off, bro. We got this.
Yeah, we got this. We got this, buddy. Well, he was exhausted from the ride, so he couldn't keep him. His legs were wobbly. Jess, he couldn't hardly stand up when he got.
I don't blame him. That's a big day.
It is a big day for our little Bezos. Unfortunately for the Amazon founder, the humiliating moment was caught on the live stream of Blue Origin's historic launch, and the clip has since been circulating on social media. So yes, you can go watch it. You can watch Jeff Bezos biff it. Shows Bezos bounding over to the space capsule and peering through the window of the New Shepard before he appeared to try and make a beeline for the door, seemingly distracted by the excitement of reuniting with Sanchez after the 11-minute jaunt to space. They'd been apart for so long. Yes, I mean,
That's hard. It's hard when you're deeply in love.
it's been a whole 11 minutes. Yeah. Bezos completely overlooked the huge ditch, which was right in front of him, and he fell right into it. Yes, he did. He then quickly scrambled to his feet after face planting on the floor. Although he probably copped a mouthful of sand in the process, at least he didn't lose teeth. Hey,
I was going to say, at least he didn't bust his teeth out. Dang.
Then again, the famous females who were part of the Blue Origin mission said the same when they exited the rocket, as most of them kissed the ground after emerging safely. They didn't do it on accident. They did it on purpose.
Everybody's just falling over.
Yeah. That would be embarrassing, but no, they did it on purpose. I believe there may be a little, is there a video attached to this? You know what? There's a video attached to this. So I'm going to post it on the description of this program so you can watch Jeff Bezos biff it as he's looking to get Lauren Sanchez out of the tip of the Blue Origin capsule. There you go. All right. Our next story has to do with weakening dark energy in the universe, which could see the universe end in a big crunch, Jess, and not a big Captain Crunch, because I love me a big bowl of Captain Crunch, but not like this. New findings concerning dark energy could indicate what might happen to the universe in the very distant future. According to Rosanna Ruggieri, the universe has been experiencing or expanding ever since the Big Bang almost 14 billion years ago, and astronomers believe a kind of invisible force called dark energy is making it accelerate faster. However, new results from the Dark Energy Spectroscopic Instrument, or DESI, yes, it's been named after Desi Arnaz, released today suggest dark energy may be changing over time. If the result is confirmed, it may overturn our current theories of cosmology and have significant consequences for the eventual fate of the universe. In extreme scenarios, evolving dark energy could either accelerate the universe's expansion to the point of tearing it apart in a big rip or cause it to collapse inward in a big crunch. Now, as a member of the DESI collaboration, Ruggieri, who's one of more than 900 researchers from 70 institutions worldwide, has been involved in the analysis and interpretation of the dark energy results. First discovered in 1998, dark energy is the kind of essence that seems to permeate space and make the universe expand at an ever-increasing rate. Cosmologists have generally assumed it as constant. It was the same in the past as it will be in the future. The assumption of constant dark energy is baked into the widely accepted lambda CDM model of the universe. In this model, only 5% of the universe is made up of the ordinary matter that we can see. Another 25% is invisible dark matter that can only be detected indirectly. And by far the bulk of the universe, a whopping 70%, is dark energy. Desi's results are not the only thing that gives us clues about dark energy. We can also look at the evidence from a kind of exploding star called the supernovae, and the way the path of light is warped as it travels through the universe is so-called weak gravitational lensing. Measurements of the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, known as the cosmic microwave background, are also important. They do not directly measure dark energy or how it evolves, but they provide clues about the universe's structure and energy content, helping to test dark energy models when combined with other data. When the new DESI results are combined with all this cosmological data, well, we see hints that dark energy is more complicated than we thought. It does seem that dark energy may have been stronger in the past, but now it's weakening. The result challenges the foundation of the lambda CDM model and would have profound implications for the future in the universe. So like we said, it could either be expanding or could be contracting, and it could end in one of two ways. It's not stable anymore, supposedly.
Ooh, which one do you think would be worse? Which would be a worse way to go? Ripping apart or crushing, being crushed by everything?
Crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because ripping apart, you just kind of go, "Whoa," and then you're done, right?
Yeah, but
Crushed.
what if the world rips apart and we're just like thrown off of it and we're just like endlessly floating through the universe? That would suck.
But see, you'd freeze. You
Ooh,
you go out into space and you'd freeze up, and then that'd be it.
I never thought of that.
And you'd just go to sleep. And then eventually your body would explode. But
Yeah.
you wouldn't know because you'd be dead. See, it's
Oh,
science like that that keeps people coming back for more on this show, right?
giving them all the good news.
Yeah, yeah. Or you'd float into the sun, but and burn up, but that wouldn't happen until you'd be long dead.
Hmm. I like that idea of though just floating into the sun and burning up,
Yeah, yeah,
becoming part of the energy source.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's romantic.
Either way, friends, we're gonna die horribly. Nice knowing
Well,
you.
I don't know it's going to happen right away. I mean, we're not talking like next week or anything.
Not in our lifetimes.
No, no, no. It's probably going to take another million years or so for that to happen. But yeah, because keep in mind, it took 11 billion years to get where we're at
Hmm.
now. And
That's true. So if you believe in reincarnation, get your stuff together so you don't have to keep coming back.
that's right. You don't end up space junk.
Let this become motivation.
That's right. All right, we're going to take our break. When we come back, AI has been incorporated into the war on aliens. We'll tell you how.
Ooh.
Finally, we may get to work with these bastards. So we'll tell you about that in our technology news. Lots of Egypt stuff today, Jess. We'll talk about the mystery of King Tut's death and how it may have been solved. And one scientist believes that that thing that's underneath the Great Pyramid of Giza,
Yeah.
he thinks it may be the Garden of Eden.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll tell you what that theory is and why that scientist came to that theory that it is the Garden of Eden. Got another Sasquatch sighting. We'll talk about that today as well. And those dire wolves that were created out of nowhere, are they really dire wolves? We'll talk about that today. Because there's some skeptics out there and they're making a pretty good point.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's coming up as well. And we'll tell you why it's probably best you stay in your bed when you fall asleep. That'll be your palate cleanser today on the big show. Supernatural news and Parashare today is the subject on today's Darkness Radio on a Wednesday. By the way, we do need your Parashares, your true paranormal experiences. You can do so by either emailing tim@darknessradio.com. You can go to our website, darknessradioshow.com, and you can click on that blue button that's on the right-hand side of the website. Leave your voice note. You have 2 minutes to do so. If you need more time, click on that blue button. Again, you've got 2 more minutes. Just rinse and repeat and keep hitting that blue button. If you need an extra 2 minutes, I'll stitch your 2-minute strings together until we make a complete story, and I'll air it here on the show. Your third alternative is if you have a studio like Jess's studio or my studio, you can take and make your own theater of the mind. Use your voice, use your sound effects, use your music beds. Put one together, send it in to me. I'll make sure it's passable for air, and we'll re-air it here on the show. So those are your three options for your true paranormal experience, your Parashare. Send them in to us, and we'll air them here on the show. All right, when we come back, more supernatural news and much more hijinks right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My co-host is Jessica Freeburg, and today, well, let's just say we're it's a good way of putting this, Jess. We're trying to maintain a brave front. Although there's injuries abound everywhere. We've seen women absconded with and shot into space on a giant metal penis. We're trying to maintain a brave front, Jess.
Yes, we are.
We are. We're trying to maintain a happy face. And I use the word happy. Shouldn't have done that.
Darn it.
Every time I say the word happy, the AI music comes out. And thus it's time for me to read AI stories. Although they may be helping us, Jess. They might finally have a use.
Okay.
Other than singling out black people at ball games and getting them arrested, which is what they're doing now in Major League Baseball.
Oh, no.
I could read that story, but I chose not to this week. An AI camera could soon be scanning the skies for aliens. A new study has led by the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics and the Galileo Project proposed an all-sky infrared camera called Dalek. Yes, like the Doctor Who Dalek, to scan Earth's skies for signs of aliens or extraterrestrial spacecraft. Now, this seems like a promising step in the right and more transparent direction. The AI camera has been developed based on NASA's previous input. That's right. NASA actually told them how to build it. Purpose-built future sensors for UAP detection should be designed to adjust on millisecond timescales to aid better detection, NASA stated in a 2023 independent study. Their quote is, in lockstep, alert systems should detect and share transient information quickly and uniformly. Multi-sensor platforms are important for providing a complete picture of a UAP event, NASA continued. An object's motion should be recorded as well as its shape or imaging data, color, and any sounds or characteristics. Similarly, the new paper proposes a multimodal, multispectral, ground-based observatory to continuously monitor the sky and collect data for UAP studies via a rigorous long-term aerial census of all aerial phenomena, including natural and human-made. This is in an effort to address the lack of publicly available scientific data on all unidentified aerial phenomena, according to the paper. Often U.S. government data is classified either because it was collected by classified censors or because it is not fully understood and could potentially be relevant for national security. That according to Professor Avi Loeb, who's head of the Galileo Project. He told that to Universe Today. However, the sky is not classified, and so the Galileo Project is operating an all-sky observatory at Harvard University and constructing two other observatories in Pennsylvania and Nevada that are searching for anomalous objects in the infrared, optical, radio, and audio bands. Should they find anything lurking in the sky, this could lead to more transparency surrounding UFOs and potential extraterrestrial technological civilizations. So, Jess, a big bad camera made with AI, built with NASA's input. What do you think?
Kind of like it.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't just take itself over and start looking for other things. Like,
yeah, as long as we can keep it reeled in, doing what we want it to do.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully it keeps looking for the aliens instead of influential humans to kill. I mean, that's their worst nightmare scenario. But other than that, hey, good luck. That's all I got to say. Just good luck. Meanwhile, GPT 4.5 is the first AI model to pass an authentic Turing test. So maybe not so fast on that alien camera. GPT 4.5 has successfully convinced people it's human 73% of the time in an authentic configuration of the original Turing test. So yeah, it's getting closer to being sentient.
I don't like that.
Large language models are getting better at pretending to be human, with GPT 4.5 now resoundingly passing the Turing test, scientists say. In the new study published March 31st, but not yet peer-reviewed, researchers found that when taking part in a three-party Turing test, I didn't know you could have a three-party Turing test. It sounds kind of fun. Throw some alcohol in there, why not? GPT 4.5 could fool people into thinking it was human 73% of the time. Scientists were comparing a mixture of different artificial intelligence models in this study, while another team of scientists has previously reported that GPT-4 passed a two-party Turing test, which is a little lonelier than a three-party, but not as lonely as a one-party, because one is the loneliest number that you'll ever know. So, this is the first time an LLM has passed the more challenging and original configuration of computer scientist Alan Turing's imitation game. So do LLM pass the Turing test? We think this is pretty strong evidence that they do. People were no better than chance at distinguishing humans from GPT 4.5 and Llama, or LLAMA, with the persona prompt. 4.5 was even judged to be human significantly more often than humans, and actual humans at that. So actual humans failed the Turing test, and they're humans.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That, according to the co-author of the study, Cameron Jones, who's a researcher at the University of San Diego Language and Cognition Lab, who's also on social media network X. Now, GPT 4.5 is the front runner in this study, but Meta's Llama 3.1 was also judged to be human by test participants 56% of the time, which still beats Turing's forecast that an average interrogator will not have more than a 70% chance of making the right identification after 5 minutes of questioning. That's a relatively high threshold to hit. The core idea of the Turing test is less about proving machines can think and more about whether they can imitate humans, hence why the test is often referred to as the imitation game. Turing's original proposal was that a human interrogator could pose questions to two unseen entities, one of them human, one of them a computer. From various prompts and answers, the interrogator would decide which is human and which is not. A computer or an AI system could pass the test by effectively pretending to be human and imitating human-like responses. So, Jess, how do you feel about that 70% mark being crushed?
I really don't like it at all, Tim. I prefer my AI to be clearly AI.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Not gonna lie, it's a little scary. All right, let's move on to other scary things, shall we? Did the King Tut sarcophagus scare you as a child at all? Looking at that
No,
big gold sarcophagus? No.
no, I was just fascinated by it. But were you scared of it?
I was more scared of what may come out of it because I saw Abbott and Costello meet the mummy way too many times.
Oh, yeah. Gotta do it to you.
Yeah. So I thought maybe something would walk out of it. Do you remember it coming to the Science Museum?
I don't remember that. No, when did it come? Was it like in the 90s?
It was in the 80s, I think.
Okay.
Because I remember my aunt bringing us to see it.
Okay. I was down in Iowa on the farm then, so I probably didn't even know it was happening.
They had you chained to a stone wheel, did they? At that point, not able to get away?
Yeah, I was, grinding flour.
Grinding flour. Thank you for playing along on that one. They didn't have you doing. You were slopping hogs and grinding flour at that point, were you?
I was going to say better than the alternative of what I was talking about last time we were discussing my childhood on the farms and the things I had to do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, the mystery of King Tutankhamun's untimely death may have been solved Scientists believe that they may have cracked the mystery of what caused the death of the young pharaoh when the tomb of Ting Tutankhamun, yes, I think I need a no-dose. When the tomb of King Tutankhamun was discovered by Howard Carter back in 1922, it sent shockwaves through the archaeological community and made headline news around the world. I don't think they had headline news at that time, did they? There was no CNN in 1922.
Wait, I mean, I suppose technically it was like the technical headline news because it was going to be written in the papers,
Okay.
right? That was the headline news back in the day.
There wasn't even like there wasn't the ticker tape and the guy who spoke like this. He wasn't even
Oh,
around.
no,
No,
no.
no. I mean, they didn't even have the guy in the movie news who said, "Guess what? Howard Carter walks into King Tut's tomb and gets cursed. Film at 11." That never happened either.
No, it did not.
So, pretty good newsy voice, isn't it, for the 40s?
You have all the good voices, Tim.
But even today, more than 100 years on, there are still things we don't know about this iconic pharaoh. One of the biggest mysteries is what exactly killed King Tut. Well, if you believe Steve Martin, who was just 18 years old when he died. I say it was alcohol poisoning. He probably just went on a bender. That's just me.
He's probably hazed at a frat.
Yeah. Yes, the Egyptian frat. Too many butt beers at the Egyptian frat. That's what killed him.
It was that last keg stand, I tell you.
That's right. Now, new research involving a collaboration between two German DNA experts and scientists from the National Research Center in Egypt and Cairo University may have finally found the answer. By studying tissue samples and conducting a DNA analysis, the team was able to determine that the young pharaoh had suffered from a number of maladies at the time of his demise, including necrosis of his left foot, which would have required him to use a walking stick. Well, that would have been
Oh,
so painful.
yikes.
Yeah. In the end, it was a combination of malaria and chronic health issues due to inbreeding that likely sealed his fate at such a young age.
Yeah. I was just listening to something about inbreeding in the royal families, just like probably 30 minutes before we hopped on here.
Yikes.
No good. Don't marry your cousins.
Yeah, or anything else. Although it still remains unclear exactly who his parents were, one prominent theory is that his father was Akhenaten, while his mother was actually Akhenaten's own sister. You know what they say,
Mhm.
and keep it under the skirt, keep it in the family.
Nobody says that, Tim.
No, nobody.
No.
Can't keep it under the golden shroud, keep it in the family. No.
Ew.
Hmm,
Ew.
okay.
His
Another
sister. Oh, come on.
Another possibility is that his mother was Akhenaten's cousin, Queen Nefertiti. I've heard that theory before. That one seems to be a more common theory. Whatever the case, Tutankhamun would have been plagued with frail health for most of his short life. I don't know if you've ever seen the real life casts of his face, Tutankhamun's face. He was not the gentle looking boy king. He supposedly had like the really weird teeth and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, what was that? Was it a Spanish royal family? And they had the really prominent jaw going on. Like they have a name for it. It's named after their name, but they had like these huge, long jaws from being inbred.
Yeah, yeah. He wasn't a looker.
I'd rather be a commoner and beautiful.
That's right. I'd rather be a stunning commoner than
Yeah. I'll
a
go get your water from the well and I will look beautiful doing it.
that's right, than a warthog of a of a of
Oh.
a warthog of a royal. That sounds like an album title. Hmm. Well, speaking of pyramids in Egypt, the Garden of Eden lies beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza. That, according to an engineer. Now, we've been talking about what exactly lies beneath the Pyramid of Giza after they did some ground penetrating radar underneath there. Some scientists from a university did, and they seem convinced that there was, I guess, for lack of a better term, there was expansive space under there. They didn't know what was down there exactly. It wasn't burial chambers. That's what Zahi Hawass claims is under there, is burial chambers. But they claim they thought there was a city under the Pyramid of Giza, to which the Antiquities Department says, no, there's no such thing as that under there. But Dr. Konstantin Borisov believes that he has pinpointed the whereabouts of Adam and Eve's biblical paradise. The precise location of the Garden of Eden, if it ever existed at all, continues to remain a topic of debate and intrigue among historians and religious scholars. Clues as to its alleged whereabouts can be found in the Bible, which references 4 rivers flowing from it, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and the Euphrates, as well as the land of Cush, now Ethiopia. This has led to the general consensus that the Garden of Eden was actually situated in Mesopotamia, or modern-day Iraq, though not everyone is convinced by this interpretation. Now, computer engineer and member of our forum, the forum that I'm reading from, Dr. Konstantin Borisov, has published a new study which he contends, rather controversially, that the Garden of Eden is not in Mesopotamia at all, but in fact is the site of the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. His research involved combining mythological symbolism with a geographical analysis of the region. He says, examining a map from around 500 BCE, it becomes evident that the only 4 rivers emerging from the surrounding ocean are the Nile, the Tigris, and the Euphrates, and the Indus, he wrote. It's clear that the pyramid itself resembles the sacred tree of life. Dr. Borisov's conclusions have certainly generated some heated debate, although there is still nothing definitive to link the Great Pyramid of Giza with the biblical paradise. All things considered, you never know if there's any truth to that theory or not. I don't think it's a far jump for him to say those 4 rivers could potentially be what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I don't think so.
It could have been mistaken and put in the Bible as those 4 rivers that they're mentioning in the text. And it could actually be the 4 rivers that Dr. Borisov is talking about. But could they be so bold as to get those wrong? I don't think so. I think that they named them right the first time, and that Mesopotamia was probably the land that they were talking about.
Right. So no Garden of Eden under there, huh?
I don't think so. No. I think Dr. Zahi-Hawass was probably closer by saying their burial chambers.
That does make more sense, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think there's any city under there, but I think there's sacred burial chambers for somebody very important.
Ooh.
Yeah. And there's a reason
more important than the king.
Yeah. And I think it may even be a celestial god that they don't want you to know about.
Ooh. I like the way you think. See, this could be interesting.
Yeah. And that's why the government's protecting it. They don't want anybody to know. There's secrets they still haven't let you know about. I firmly believe.
Oh, and there always will be. We'll never know all the secrets.
Yeah. Well, researchers are planning to excavate the rumored site of Noah's Ark. That's our next story. We're I guess hitting all the biblical stories this week, Jess. Turkey's Duru Pinar Formation is believed to be, by many, to be the petrified remains of Noah's biblical vessel, situated approximately 3 kilometers north of the Iranian border and around 6,500 feet above sea level. The site, which for years has been hailed by some as the final resting place of the Ark itself, could soon be at the center of significant new archaeological excavation. Researchers from California-based firm Noah's Ark Scans are hoping to prove once again that the Duru Pinar Formation really is the biblical vessel built by Noah at the time of the Old Testament. The location lies in an active earth flow with harsh winters. So protecting the area is our top priority, said researcher Andrew Jones, as he told that to The Sun. Over the next few years, our Turkish university partners will conduct non-destructive tests like soil sampling, radar scans, and other methods to determine if the structures we've detected are truly man-made or simply natural formations. Only after we gather enough evidence and we have a proper preservation plan in place will we consider excavating. The or some experts rather, are already convinced that the site really is the petrified remains of the Ark. Earlier this year, a new study found evidence to link the formation to the story of Noah in the form of clues indicating that the entire region was underwater at the time of the biblical Great Flood. 30 samples of soil and rock from the site were analyzed and determined to contain clay-like materials, marine deposits, and even small traces of small shellfish dating back to around 3,500 to 5,000 years. So they're going to give it a shot. Why not?
Might as well say go for it.
Yeah, might as well see what's there, right? Just to see what they can see. All right. We're going to skip ahead a little bit here as we're running a little shy on time. But we're going to tell you a little bit about a mystery surrounding the trail of Bigfoot tracks left deep in the snow in Maine. A short video clip shows a series of large footprints indicating a stride much greater than that of any human. In a report submitted, not committed, to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, the witness, who hails from the Wells area of York County in Maine, found the tracks in the woods behind their home back in February. There had been heavy snow and wind beforehand, and the snowfall was thick on the ground. The tracks themselves were around 7 to 8 feet apart and continued for quite some time and distance. Due to the size of the tracks and the large spacing between them, they were clearly not human. The witness noted that it took him 2 full strides to cover the distance from one point to the next. So could these tracks of Bigfoot, or could these be the tracks of Bigfoot or something else? One interesting suggestion was that the prints would have been made by a bobcat or lynx that had been bounding through the snow and landing each time with all 4 paws together. That seems a little less likely than a Bigfoot track.
Yeah.
You'd have to hop and then place all 4 paws at the same time. That seems less likely.
Yeah, that might be some other kind of cryptid.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a video with this. So I tell you what, I'll post this in the description of the program as well. So you can take a look for yourself and see these tracks. Speaking of another, I don't know that you can call this a cryptid, but the dire wolves are back in the news, the ones that were resurrected by scientists. I suppose right now they are cryptids, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're kind of one of a kind, right? And out there on their own. So the controversy here is, are they actually the real deal, Jess, or simply lookalikes? Scientists recently claimed to have resurrected the extinct dire wolf, but are the pups really dire wolves at all? Here is the controversy in a nutshell. The pups were announced, and their birth was announced with key traits of dire wolves, an iconic predator last seen roaming North America around 10,000 years ago. It followed on the heels of an earlier project announcement focused on the woolly mammoth, not the holy mammoth. If there's a holy mammoth out there, I don't want to run into it. And the thylacine. This all fuels a sense that de-extinction is not only possible, but imminent. But as the science advances, a deeper question lingers. How close must the result be to count it as a true return? And if we can only recover fragments of an extinct creature's genome and must build the rest with modern substitutes, is that really de-extinction, or are we simply creating lookalikes? Now, to the public, de-extinction often evokes images of Jurassic Park-style resurrection, a recreation of a lost animal reborn into the modern world in scientific circles. However, the term encompasses a variety of techniques: selective breeding, cloning, and increasingly synthetic biology through genome editing. Synthetic biology is a field that involves redesigning systems found in nature. Now, what they're suggesting here is that those dire wolves are a victim of this selective synthetic biology, that it's not a pure dire wolf, that other species were cut in to bring them to life.
All right. Well, then it doesn't really count. It's not the same thing.
You don't think so?
I don't know. No, I mean, technically.
Now, it says here, if you compare humans to chimpanzees, the genetic similarity is around 98.8%. And that the behavioral and physical differences between the two are huge, if you think about it.
Right.
if comparatively small genetic gaps can produce such major differences, what can we expect when editing only a tiny fraction of the differences between the two species of dire wolf? It's a useful rule of thumb when assessing recent claims. So maybe you're right, Jess. Maybe splicing in genes from another genome to get these things to come back to life is not exactly playing fair.
No, not if we're like 98% identical to a chimp.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is 98% identical to this, species of animal, but it's there's going to be variations. It could just be in their behavior and the things that they do, and I don't know, but it wouldn't be the same.
Well, they're suggesting re-logging and renaming these species so that we know exactly what we're getting. They're saying we should name them synthetic proxies, ecological analogs, or engineered restorations. These phrases might lack the drama of de-extinction, but they're closer to the scientific reality. Kind of like saying Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not getting the original.
Right.
You're getting a replica.
That's fair.
You know?
But also, should we be even doing this? Like, do we need to bring species back if they've been made extinct? I mean, it's so sad when they go extinct, but just because we can do something doesn't mean we should.
Right. Well, there's a reason they disappeared in the first place, right? Either they were wiped out by disease, they lost their food supply, the weather was too extreme for them. Something happened that
Hmm.
they died out. Again, if you believe in natural selection, it was their time to go. If you believe in karma and fate, it was their time to go. If you believe in,
Right.
if you believe in any of that, dire wolves weren't meant to survive. So why do we as humans decide we need to play God and try to bring them back because they were the subject of a TV show? It'd be nice to see one instead of
Yeah.
in CG, right?
Yeah. It seems like a bad idea, but
All right, our palate cleanser for today. Do you have any unusual sleep habits? Do you sleepwalk by chance?
I used to, but I haven't in a very long time.
What was the most unusual thing you did sleepwalking?
Well, my mom said once she found me in the kitchen, like up on top of the counter, like going through the cupboards, just digging through the cupboards. And
Really?
I was fast asleep.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know
Funny
what I was
thing.
thinking about.
I don't know. Most interesting thing. I see. I haven't
No,
sleepwalk. I don't know how that current tense goes.
either way you say it, you haven't done it.
I haven't done it. It hasn't been for me. Thank you very much. But I won't say which sister, but one of my sisters has. And she just so happened on a family trip when we were very young, happened to get up and had to use the restroom while she was sleepwalking.
Oh,
And she used my other sister's suitcase as the restroom, which
yeah.
is full of clothes. So,
Oh, that's bad.
yeah, it was funny though. He was freaking out and I was laughing hysterically. I thought it was great. Meanwhile, my aunt was going, "Don't wake her. Don't wake her." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not. Mm-mm. Oh, this is great." My other sister was screaming her head off.
Yeah, it seems like we kind of outgrow sleepwalking though, right? It's not usually something that grown-ups do. It's usually a child thing.
Oh, not according to this next story, Jess.
No? Oh, I'm excited to hear it.
Oh, no, you don't necessarily outgrow sleepwalking. No, ma'am. According to this, a sleepwalking man punched through his bedroom window with his bare fist.
Oh, no.
They say never wake a sleepwalking person. I think in this case, you go ahead and wake him.
Yeah.
The man, who had been having a nightmare at the time, woke up to find himself in a scene from a horror movie. Sleepwalking can be a disconcerting thing to contend with at the best of times, but when you end up punching through windows in your sleep, it can also become downright terrifying. This recently became reality for 27-year-old David Murphy from Cork, Ireland, who had been sound asleep one night when he awoke to find himself standing next to his bedroom window. This wasn't the worst of it, though, as he quickly realized that the window glass had been smashed to pieces and his mangled hand was now dripping with blood.
Oh my gosh.
Yikes. He later recalled that he had been having a nightmare at the time in which he had believed himself to be trapped inside a shrinking room. In a bid to escape, he had started pounding his fists against the wall, only to awaken to find that he had actually punched through his bedroom window.
That's a scary dream. I'm claustrophobic just thinking of it.
Yeah. His quote is, "I have experienced sleepwalking before, but nothing like this." After he woke up, his girlfriend took him to a local hospital where he received 45 stitches.
Dang.
He did that window in good. His injured hand also required weeks of physiotherapy in an effort to restore his full use of it. So he sliced tendons and he sliced nerves.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Murphy has since spoken to a psychiatrist about his bouts of sleepwalking. The psychiatrist linked it to my own fear of death, he went on to say. For myself, my friends, and loved ones, a form of OCD, he went on to say. I was prescribed an antidepressant to help with the overthinking. At first, I felt like I was taking medication, or at first, I felt like taking medication would be like giving in some way, but it's really helped. So he says taking medication can help stave off that sleepwalking episode, and the violent one at that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for today's show, Jess. What you got going on with the website?
Yeah, I mean, I have books, you guys. If you haven't read my books yet, it'd be awesome if you grabbed a copy of whatever one looks good to you. If you go to my website, there's a tab for books and you can find them on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. But yeah, that's the main thing. I just finished another one up that'll come out next year and looking at more contracts with my agent right now. So more writing.
I did notice that um, as I was perusing, because as I tend to do on occasion, that we were talking about autographed books before, that
Yeah.
people can email you and get autographed books if they so choose. So that's an
Yes.
option for them. And that they can also contact you through your site. So please, no stalking Jess in any other format other than her website. Let's keep it to the website.
Uh, you can also connect with me on Instagram or Facebook. I love our fans. Everyone's been so sweet and kind, and the craziest thing they do is send me healing vibes, which I'll take them all day long, especially right now because I feel like I'm falling apart.
Okay. All right. Well, I was trying to keep it centralized, but since you went and did that, then you went and done. I can't help you. All right. But other than that, go order the books. I know Jess is working on new ones. She just turned in a book. So, but in the meantime, there are books out there to be bought. So go buy a book from Jess this week. So there you go. All right. Speaking of books, our guest for tomorrow, Jess, you ready for this?
Yes.
I have actually physically with my own two hands made recipes out of this book right here, Food to Die For.
Oh my gosh.
Our guest tomorrow is a good friend of the show. Amy Bruni will be with us. So
I
we'll
love
be
her.
talking all things Paranormal Circle. We'll be talking all things out of this book, stories and recipes tomorrow.
That is such a beautiful book.
Yeah, it is. It's heavy too. It's hurting my
Yeah.
tinnitus. I see what I did there. It's not tendonitis, it's like tinnitus. People are gonna be like, "You don't have tinnitus. You don't have tendonitis." I know I don't have. Um, we're going to talk with Amy all things recipes and stories. We'll also talk about a gathering she had over the weekend with the paranormal poppy himself, Joan Mass from Ghost Brothers.
Oh, fun.
It's a different kind of event. I want to talk to her about it. They had a little bit of I believe it was like a little champagne gathering. So,
Ooh.
yeah, they swapped ghost stories. It was kind of an interesting little get together. So I want to talk to her about that as well. So that's coming up on tomorrow's program. Amy Bruni is with us, and we'll talk about Food to Die For on the big program. So
I can't wait.
yeah, so that'll do it for today. For Jessica Freeburg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much, everybody, for continuing to listening and watching the best in paranormal podcasting. I got to get out of here. I think you and I got to get out of here, and we got to do some medication together here, Jess. We'll get out of here, and we'll see you tomorrow for Amy Bruni here on Darkness Radio.
For more audio and video archives of the show, intriguing content, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. The executive producer of Darkness Radio is Troy Palmer. If you enjoyed today's program, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow for Food to Die For with Amy Bruni.